In our ASP.NET Core MVC series, we have already covered controller and view. Today we are going to understand model, its roles and responsibilities, how we can create our own model, and many other things. It's obvious that every application will have to deal with some kind of data, and there will be business rules that we write in terms of application logic. In short, model represents data and the application logic. I have opened our MVC application. This is the same application that we are working from past few sessions. If you want to know how to create this application and want to know about views and controllers, you can visit my channel and you will find a playlist by name ASP.NET Core MVC. There you will find all the videos. I'll quickly run this application. See, this is our application. We have a header here. Next, we have a footer, the content area. If you look at the header, we have home. Next, we have privacy. When I click on privacy, here we have privacy information displayed. Then contact us. Then tutorial. I know this is not very professional or good looking application, but don't worry, by the end of this series, we will make it beautiful. For now, let's go step by step. Let's take an example of tutorial and understand model. If I ask you to describe tutorial, what are the main properties that comes to your mind? If you ask me, I'll say ID, then name and description. I'm keeping it simple. Here, ID, name and description are the data that describe tutorial. What you see here is pictorial representation of data. Now I'm going to show you how to create model in our project. Can you see the models folder here? We are going to create our tutorial model inside this folder. We have this folder because we have used ASP.NET Core MVC template to create this project. If I expand, here you can see error view model. This model is used by error view. This view is inside shade folder. Can you see at the top? This model is used here. Now the question is, how do we create our own model? Can you see models folder here? We are going to create our tutorial model inside this models folder. It is always a good practice to create our models inside this folder. In future, it will be easy to understand as well as it will be easy to maintain our code. Right click on the models folder, choose add. Can you see class here? Click on class. We always create model as a class. Now, I'll name it as tutorial. Click add. We have added our tutorial class. Inside our tutorial class, we are going to create the properties for ID, name and description. Prop tab. I'll keep it as int because ID is going to be of the integer type and I'll change it to ID. Now again I'll create one more property for name. This is going to be of string type. I'll change it to name. Next, we are going to create one more property. Now we have created three properties, ID, name and description. Our model is ready. We understood what is model, how to describe it and how to create a model. But what do we do with this model? This is our application. When I click on tutorial, I get a message saying I'm tutorial view. This is not the way it should work in real world application, right? Let's do one thing. Instead of printing this hard-coded message, let's display some model data. Our tutorial view is inside views tutorial folder, index.cshtml, and our model is inside models tutorial class. Do you know who will help us to get the data from model and give it to the view? This is our controller. Controller bridges between model and view. We have tutorial model and we want to display it on tutorial view. Thus, let's open tutorial controller. This is inside controllers folder. Expand it. Here you'll see tutorial controller. We have created this controller while discussing controller. We are inside tutorial controller. Here you can see we have one action method by name index. This action method is returning view. The default nature is to return a view that is having same name as action method. Here name of the action method is index. This is going to return the view that is inside the tutorial folder, which is inside views. Here can you see this index.cshtml? This view is returned by that action method. Now I'm going to create an instance of tutorial model and create some dummy data. See, here I have created a data. We are getting error here because we have to mention the namespace. Just say control dot. You'll get the suggestion. Import the statement. Error is gone. Please remember, this is not the right way to create a data. The best approach is to create a service and have all the business logic in that service. That is the best way. I'm creating data inside the controller just for the demonstration purpose. If I create the service and get the data from that service, it will be difficult for a complete beginner to understand. For now, let's focus on how the model data is used by the view. There are different ways to pass the data from controller to the view. I'm going to use view data. After creating the sample data, I'll say view data. View data is a dictionary. So I have to mention a key. I'll say tutorial. We have stored our data inside this view data. Remember, here tutorials is the key. Even while accessing our data, we should use this key. Let's make changes to the view. I'll remove this statement. Now I'll declare a variable to store our data. I'll write at. Whenever we have to write some C# code inside Razorpage, we should start with at symbol. I'll write at. Then I'll declare a variable. I'll say tutorials. Then we had stored our data inside view data. We have to access the data. We have to retrieve the data using the same key that we had used while storing the data. Here tutorials is the key. Now I want to display the data inside a table. So I'll write table. Now we are writing HTML code. Let's create the header for the table. We have our header ready. Now we have to create the rows for the data. If you look at the tutorial controller, we have two sets of data. We know, in our case, we know this thing because we have hard coded the values. We know we have to create two rows. But practically this won't work because in real application we never know how many rows are there in our data set. To make it work, we are going to take help from for each loop. Again, don't forget to write at because we are going to switch back to C# code. We are going to iterate through the tutorials list. We are getting error because the compiler don't know the type of the tutorials. We have to do the typecasting. Here we have to specify the type. Now the error has gone. Now let's continue to work. I'll change the item to tutorial. Now inside this for each loop, I'll create a row and I'll access ID, name and description. Now what will happen? If a list has two sets of data, then 2 rows will be created. If a list has 10 sets of data, then 10 rows will be created. We need not worry about the number of rows. The for each loop will take care of that. Now let's save the changes and let's see if the changes are reflecting or not. I'll run the application. Now I'll click on tutorial. See, the data is reflecting on the screen. So successfully we have created the model and we have fetched that model data to the view. Just a quick recap. Here we have created the tutorial model. Then we modified the tutorial controller. Here we are creating the dummy data and we are storing that data inside view data. We are passing that data to the view and here we are displaying the data. I hope you are clear with the models. Here what I have shown you is one way of passing data from controller to the view. There are other ways too. In next session, I am going to show you how to pass the data from controller to the view in different ways. In upcoming sessions, we are going to work on this part and we are going to create a service and we are going to fetch the data in a proper way. Thanks for your time and see you soon in the next video. Thank you.